Hello, hello, and welcome back to episode 3 of Conversations with Black Women in Tech. I have my good friend Angel here with me again, and today we're going to be talking resources and just talking about, different jobs that you can get within the tech field if you're not so techy. So, don't be fearful about stepping into tech because there are some things that you can do. Like we were talking about, a lot of your skills are probably already transferable.
Mhm.
Um, so let's start with the different jobs that you could, do if you're not necessarily techie. You don't want to learn coding. You don't want to get into all of that. What kind of jobs could you do, without those technical skills?
Well, thank you, friend, for having me over again. We always have fun on here. You know, I'm always hype. So hi guys. If you didn't hit our first episode together, I'm Angel Regis. I'm a data engineering associate. I am an example of what that looks like when it's I don't have a college degree per se. I have a lot of training in tech, in different modalities, telecom, and now data science. But and don't use age as an excuse. If you want to do it to break into tech, I am 51 and just got my data science cert last year, and I'm still learning a lot. I'm open to learn. I'm open to sharing and resources. So um, I think the first place we always want to start is where are we right now as far as in experience, our background, and we were talking about this. A lot of your skills are transferable. A lot of them. We're from project management, Scrum, um, service delivery. Now, service delivery can encompass and some companies call it service delivery department. And then we have project coordinators that are under that project management department. So you are managing maybe a particular client, making sure that the cycle from sales all the way out to when you deliver those services to the client, you're managing and making sure all your stakeholders, your cross-functional groups are aligned with the customer due date and when you're going to deliver those services to the customer. Um,
Wait, back up a little bit. So project management is pretty self-explanatory, but you
mhm,
mentioned we talked about this. I don't know if you mentioned it here, Agile and Scrum. Can you just
mhm.
explain the difference between those three?
Well, agile, when I'm talking about Scrum, it's like a broad term that a lot of tech companies use. They pretty much, and when I think about it, it's similar, but a lot more tech companies would use those terminologies within. Now, in telecom, project management, service deliveries heavily use those terms and those roles, but we did use platforms that are Scrum and Agile, oriented, like Jira, TBS. I know some companies now probably use Trello as well because we're talking about it as well. And software companies use Jira a lot. So they run the project again from inception to delivery to the customer, and they handle there are certain terminologies within that area that's called sprints. So a lot of projects are running from a couple of weeks maybe to a month depending on the extent of it. You're pretty much making sure that everyone from your programmers, your software people, whoever's handling or has a hand within that project, in order to make sure that all your scope of work is done and completed on time to deliver to the customer. You're handling that. You're overseeing all the work, making sure that everyone is meeting their guidelines, everyone is meeting their mark to deliver to the customer. And if they have any issues, you're the point of contact. So it's a
And
little
most
bit
people,
more, but it's just an overview.
and
Yeah.
most people are probably doing it already. Like that
Yep.
want to switch career paths. They're probably already in some way, shape, or form doing some type of project management.
Hmm.
So like I said, you don't necessarily have to learn how to code, but if you're already managing projects, listen. As women, you manage projects in your home every day.
Exactly.
So yeah. And so we also were talking about like different resources, free resources that are available. I know they Coursera, Google, they have all these certifications that people are getting now, and it's
Yes.
actually helping them land, 6-figure jobs.
Mm-hmm. And now, like we had that conversation probably earlier when we were messaging each other. Always start, if there's an interest, I suggest whether you Google, ask a friend, get a resource from someone, recommendation, find out where these communities are. If your interest is in cybersecurity, for instance, right? Find out where that community is. Whether it's on Facebook, there's always groups. Just pretty much just pull up those keywords: cybersecurity, women in cybersecurity, whatever that is. LinkedIn, big groups over there. Instagram, there are huge groups. Twitter, there are huge groups. Twitch, and that's just a few. Slack, there's quite a few, and these are all obviously free platforms that you can just create an account, username and password, pull in some keywords, and you're there. And what that does is, and all these things that I'm sharing with you guys, these are things that I have done myself and I've tried, and I know that it works. You have to surround yourself with the people and the communities that you aspire to be in, right? They're very, very open with information, resources, all different levels. They're always open to answering questions, guiding you, sharing resources, ebooks, other trainings that you might need. Where do I start? Fundamentals, all of this stuff you can get in those communities. Once you figure that out, then I would say start looking at those free platforms. Start there. Don't pay for any courses yet. Start there. Free code camp, Coursera, edX. Then you have Unlock Academy. They do have free courses as well, besides the paid monthly subscriptions. There's quite a few. There's just a handful. Oh, W3 Schools, that's another one of them. Code Academy, Khan Academy. These all have curriculums that you can follow from beginner to advanced. You can take practices. Their video, depending on what your learning style is, video. Make sure, I love hands-on. I think, it just goes without saying, get some hands-on practice, projects, the small projects. And then once you get a handle and a feel for what that is, but it takes work. Everything takes work and time and patience. It's not going to happen overnight. If that's what you want to do, take the time and I always say, start with 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That's it. Start with 15 minutes. Get to know what that is. Get a feel for it. Ask questions and connect with people. Ask questions, but
Yeah,
start
you
there.
have to commit to it, and you have to put in the work. Period.
Yep.
And the cool
You
thing
have
about
to.
some of those courses, I know for Coursera, where they had
Mhm.
the Google certification, they help you build your portfolio. So at the end of your course,
Mhm.
they're giving you a project, because I know sometimes that's an issue as well. Like, you don't have any experience, you don't have a portfolio, and you're trying to, get a job. So,
Yep.
don't be discouraged.
Nope.
And I just think that, like you said, there's so many free resources. People
Mhm.
are so open with it. It's almost like it's like a movement right now. Black women are trying to break
Yes.
into tech. And I think this is the time to take advantage of it. That's why I feel like these conversations are so important.
Yes.
Um, so outside of the courses in the community, how did you manage your time to be able to, because you have children, and like,
Yes.
how were your kids when you started this, were your kids already like out the door? Like, what were their ages?
It depends on which side of tech, because in telecom, I didn't have any kids yet. So I worked many years, probably about 8, 9 years before I had kids. And I was, working a lot. And most recently, even with my data science program, I was doing at the minimum 3 days a week, a few hours as after my full-time job.
Mm,
The kids were still in school. My daughter just started college. So they were young. They're not that old. My oldest is 22. My daughter is 18 and my youngest is 14. But, I had that conversation with them. I always share with them what I'm doing. And I get excited about what I'm learning. And they encourage me. And their kids, they may not know exactly, what that is. But
mm-hmm.
get your kids involved, because they need to see you accomplishing these things, it teaches them something about resilience, about patience, about,
Yes.
learning something new, being excited about finding your passion, find whatever that is. I share it with them, and they understand. They may not know certain terminologies or whatever, but they were right there along with me with the journey. But it takes time. It's tedious. It's frustrating sometimes. There are times, depending on the program that you're working on, whatever it is that you're learning, it's repetition, practice, practice, practice. I literally have these in my phone, on my calendar. I set about an hour on my phone. It goes off every day, whether it's for work or home or doing my practices. And when I first started learning just basic coding, HTML, CSS, I'm still learning. Um, I had a whiteboard and I would write out syntax, write it out, erase it, rewrite it again, use
Mm-hmm.
text references, and I'm doing YouTube channels to brush up on it. And so all different, instructors have different styles. Different resources will show you something different, and you might resonate with more than the other. So be open to, not being stuck with one person or one resource. Find what fits for you, and that worked for me. But I had to be diligent about it. Every day I was doing, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes. When I had classes, I had to, obviously I had to, there were classes that were due, papers that were due, and, whatnot. But, if you really want it, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
there's no magic. If you
Mm-hmm.
really want to do it, you can do it. Find an accountability partner, someone that's going to hold you accountable to, if you told yourself you're going to get 30 minutes done a day or every other day, you have to hold yourself accountable because you have goals.
Mm-hmm.
You have to,
We
you
were
know.
talking about before we started the show also how social media could that could be a potential role or position that you can get within a company. Um,
Hmm.
still considered tech in a way. Can you just talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit?
Yeah, there's I don't know if you guys social media, what was it? Not manager, but
Community manager.
community manager. But if you're already on social media and you enjoy what you're doing content, content strategy, all of that stuff. This is just, every company, it's hard to think that there's not one company out there who has, social media platforms. They need management, that
Mm-hmm.
needs content, that can be a stepping stone to something else within the company. But start with what you know and see how you can sort of maximize it and leverage it.
Yeah, just get in
Don't,
the door, like you said,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Just get in somewhere. Yes.
Right.
So, and so what has your experience been like just being in the tech field? Like the people that you're meeting, has it all been good? Have you had any crazy situations?
Yeah, it's and I always have to go to, both sides. In telecom, it was interesting. I learned a lot. I was very fortunate, and I was very grateful when I look back. I learned a lot because there are some companies that are traditionally, they only teach one thing, and techs, and I run into techs who only learned this one thing for 20 something years, and there I am with this company, and I had to learn how to wire. I had to learn how to test, and I had to learn alarm maintenance, and I had to learn data integrity, and design, and all this stuff. So it felt like a lot at the time, but I knew that I was getting one of the best, educations hands-on within a company, doing so much, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But it was challenging. But the other thing that I would really like to see is more women that look like me in there. After so many years, I was, a lot of companies I worked for, I was probably one of the few. If there was a time I was the only woman of color in the field, or one of the few women. When I say few, less than five.
Mm-hmm.
For many years. But that's changing. But I think this change has to start from top down.
Mm-hmm.
Culture of the company, in so many different areas, it has to start from there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's changing. It's changing. But I had fun, great relationships that I still have till today. When I first moved here in '96 and worked for this small company, I still I'm still friends with them today. I
Mm-hmm.
really am. So you build those really strong relationships, and when things are happening, whether it's in the industry, you're moving around. It's almost like full circle. It's a small family. This person is working
Mhm.
for Comcast now, and they used to work for Exo. Now they're working for AT&T, and
Mhm.
you reach out. So it's a great community. Great community. This company right now, Accenture, and I can't say that enough. If
Mhm.
you have a desire, y'all need to connect with me because your girl, I'm passionate about this stuff.
Yes.
You gotta connect. What's the saying? Closed mouth don't get fed. I
Yep.
don't know what you need. I want to help people. I want to share that information. I want more to see more women. And
Mhm.
this company has just such a great culture, inclusive, and it's just so dynamic. And seeing women from all over, all different backgrounds,
Mhm.
learning, growing, and it's like a university within a company. That's the best way I can describe it. The apprenticeship program is great. I had never heard of them before that. And now, my goodness,
Mhm.
anything you think you want to learn within the tech domain, from cyber to cloud and I'm saying, whatever the company has a saying, you own your career, and literally you own your career. If you got hired as a the data engineer, and you're gravitating more towards cyber or cloud, um, they support it.
Mhm.
You have a team. Each member of that apprentice program has a team to help you,
Mhm.
mentors, peer mentors. You got leads, and you meet with them. Like, literally, you meet with them, whether weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or however whatever that frequency is. But they're really vested in you as a person in that tech field, whatever that domain is. It could be content, it could be branding, it could be cloud, cybersecurity, engineering, data analysts. Consulting is huge now. It's a
Mhm.
big area. So yeah,
That's what I was
be
going to ask you. What should you look for in a company? I know you're saying like the mentoring, what you love about
mhm,
your company, but what
mhm.
someone who just got finished, a program, they got their
Yeah.
certificate, they had their startup portfolio. What should they look for in a company? To start out with.
I know we've heard so much about that term, that work-life balance, but some
Mm-hmm.
companies, they talk a lot again, but it's not real work-life balance. This company understands that you got to invest in your people, your workforce. And once they're happy and they feel valued and they feel part of something, and they feel like they're contributing to something greater than who they are within the company, it's a beautiful, beautiful relationship. Look for, and I look for inclusivity. I look for the culture, meaning, how dynamic is it? Do they have women that look like me? Do they have women? The CEO of this company, Julie Sweet, is a woman. Her goal is to make sure that men and women are on that equal playing field. They're valued, and especially they're bringing in women from all over the world. It's a global company. Are your needs as an employee being met? They understand that we have families outside of work. They understand that some of us have children. They understand that sometimes things happen. A child may get sick or what have you. They're very open. That open door policy, that's real. I know we heard that years ago, right? But it wasn't all that. That's a real thing. They're vested in helping you grow as an employee, whatever that is for you, whatever that looks like for you. They're really open to that. And I also love that they're a tech company, so they're open to all these really cool and awesome ways of growing beyond the workplace. But we all have social media platforms. We help encourage each other. They encourage that. We help encourage each other. We help, each other grow outside. We share our personal lives. What are we doing from the creative side to our children? Pictures of a cat. Whatever that is, they
Yeah.
encourage that wholesome person. You know. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's yep.
I love that. And I love that for
Mhm.
you. I love that you're so happy to be there because, sometimes you get into a company, you want something so bad, and then you get there and, the hours are crazy. They're overworking you. So I love that for you. And I
Yeah.
hope that, everybody watching, you took some notes. I'll make sure, if you follow up on our YouTube channel that You have all the details, all the resources. Thank you again, Angel,
You're
for chatting
welcome. You know, it's always
with
great.
me. And ladies, get in there.
Yep,
Get these six-figure jobs. They're out there, they're hiring. Get in there while you can. So thank
exactly.
you so much and have a good
You're
evening,
welcome.
everyone. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great